Hi, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show. Today, we're going to talk about the importance of education, educating the youth of today so they can have a beautiful path and a beautiful future to tomorrow. I'd like to welcome to the show, Dr. Morrow, all the way from Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me.
Did I get the name right, Dr. Morrow?
Yes, Dr. Morrow.
Dr. Morrow, but Morrow.
Yes, correct.
Let's get started. Tell the viewers a little bit about Dr. Morrow.
I am a 17-year educator. This is a one-year plan for me until I can figure out my life that turned into 17 years later. I teach high school marketing and entrepreneurship, and I'm also an adjunct professor where I teach MBA classes online. So
you just got it going. You just got it going on. And we share a little bit more in common during our pre-interview.
Yes.
Both had full scholarships to Albany State. Yeah. How did that road happen for you to go to Albany State?
Oh, that was the best decision I ever made. I was recruited for basketball and under Coach Robert Skinner. Best decision ever made. That is my second home. Those were the greatest 4 years of my life. Literally the greatest 4 years of my life.
Yeah. Okay. So where are you originally from?
I'm originally from Tuskegee, Alabama.
What's that like in Tuskegee growing up?
Ooh, it's Tuskegee. I mean, it's a small town, but it's home for me. So,
not
much there.
What's your family like? You definitely came from what is called a structured family, and a lot of times people need to realize when you come from life isn't all the time about misfortunes, and sometimes it's about opportunities happening in something along that path allows you to do something else. What's it like in your household?
So my parents were both advocates of education. They enforced education, especially my dad. Everything was all about, you get a good education. I'll never forget when I went to college, I had 3 part-time jobs. I guess that's just the hustler in me, and playing basketball and taking a full load in school. So my dad found out that I had 3 jobs. He made me quit. He said, I did not send you to college to work. He said, you have the rest of your life to work. You're there to get an education. So I've always had structure in my home.
What was your mom?
My mom, she was very transparent with my dad. She knew I had the job. She was like, if your dad finds out, he's going to be upset with you. But yeah, my parents were very much educational driven.
You have siblings, correct?
I have an older brother. Yes, I do. I have an older brother with my mom, and he's actually here in Atlanta with me as well.
Did he get a basketball scholarship to the Golden?
No, he actually went to Alabama State.
Oh, okay. So we talked a little bit during our pre-interview, and you started your journey from college into the corporate finance. Let's talk a little bit about that and then go into how the wheels changed for you to all of a sudden go into something you had no insight in going to. But let's start with the financial part, because you shared a lot of information that goes on behind the scenes there that I didn't even know.
Right. So this one job in particular, I used to work for Wells Fargo Financial, not Wells Fargo. Those are 2 different entities. And I was pretty much taking you from a 4% interest rate and putting you into a 14% interest rate just so you can get $10,000 equity out of your home. That went against my moral beliefs and ethical values. And I was like, I can't do it. But the money was great. The money was definitely great. I took a massive pay cut to be a teacher. It was literally just something for me to do. I remember my cousin telling me, hey, they're having a job fair. So I went to the job fair just to figure it out. My background is not education, so I had no idea where to start. Went to the job fair and I was hired on the spot and had to go through a teacher alternative preparation program to get certified as a teacher.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a 1-year plan and I haven't looked back since.
So let's go back a little bit. You shared something that's really profound here. Mm-hmm. And I harped on that quite a bit yesterday. What was the reasons when you realized what they were doing in the financial industry, was it to a certain select group of people they was trying to make them get this outrageous rates? And when did the concept, when did your morals really kick in? And who did you share it with and before you left that particular workforce?
So I know we try to say a lot of times that certain demographics are targeted, but at the end of the day, it's a business. All money is green, no matter. It's not black, white, blue, purple, whatever. It's all green. So it didn't matter. I mean, I was basically refinancing people's cars. Like they were paying more in their car payment than they were in their mortgage. I had people that were living in an apartment, but you're driving a $1,300 car. So it just didn't make a lot of sense to me. And realizing that, I'm like, this can't be what I'm destined to do for the rest of my life.
Did they understand what was happening to them, or they couldn't read the fine print?
Well, it's one of those things where how does it saying, if you want people to know something, if you don't want people to know something, put it in a book. How many times, I mean, have you really read the fine print on anything? You're trusting me as the agent or the loan officer that I have your best interest at heart, when at the end of the day, this is my income. This is how I get paid. So it didn't matter. It made sense to you because you're getting $10,000 cash out. It's still your home. You didn't care about going from a 4% to a 10%. You just need the money. And you just never know people's situations, their circumstances. I mean, I said I'll never co-sign on anything for anybody. Because I mean, I've worked in that area, and it's just like, man, y'all are so far in debt. Just because you wanted a car? Just because you wanted a house that you couldn't afford? I mean, it was just really a huge eye-opener for me.
Really? What was the one part that was the eye-opener? You said, I'm done. Who came in and asked for that loan, and you was like, okay, I'm done?
Because it was a single mom, and at this time I didn't have any children, and it was just like, I knew she couldn't afford this, but this was my job. So I had to close the deal, and it was just like, no, this is not what I believe in. And I know I'm not helping this mom. I'm putting her in a worse situation. I'm helping her right now in this moment, because all she sees is $10,000 that she, at this time, I think it might have been $12,000 that she's getting to walk away with. But in the grand scheme of things, 2 months from later, you're not going to be able to afford your mortgage. You're already struggling. That's why you're trying to get the 12 grand.
Wow. So then you decided an opportunity opens up with something you clearly had no interest.
None.
If somebody says, "Hey, go babysit my kids,"
oh no,
the first thing in your mind is like, "Oh my God, I don't want to go there." What was it like when you finally did take that first day on the job, when you went to work? And first of all, what type of school system did you go into?
I'm in a public school system. It was fun. Like, I was still fairly young. I mean, I might have been 4 or 5 years older than these kids at the time, but I couldn't let them see that or know that. But it was just fun. Like, even now, 17 years later, there's never a dull moment in my day. My kids are so entertaining. Like, there's never a dull moment. And because I teach marketing, everything is marketing, no matter what we discuss. Like, we're going to go talk about how Beyonce just did the Renaissance grand premiere last night, and everybody dressed up, because that's still marketing and branding. I just ordered the perfume. She convinced me just from a post that I showed them in class to spend $185 for a bottle of perfume. I had no idea what it smelled like, but that's marketing. So I have to get to their level to get them to relate. So if I have to talk about Beyonce, Jay-Z, I don't care who it is, for them to understand the concept of marketing, then that's what I do. And that's what makes it so fun, because everything is marketing.
When you went into the school, you had no idea on what you was going to teach. You had no idea of the curriculum. I used to be a school teacher. So I remember my first day of teaching kindergarten through 8th. I literally came home and laid on the couch and went to sleep. And remember telling my friend, I'm going to call those teachers, if they're still around, and say, I am sorry, because I know I had to be bad as hell after what I just witnessed there. But I had to do an evaluation of my students on each grade level. When you went in for the first day, what did you have to evaluate, and what did you feel was a dire need to be taught?
I think for me, I'm a talker, so I'm a conversational teacher. I mean, I had a Mr. O, I love him to death. He would always tell me, you entertain these kids so well. And I'm like, it's not so much entertainment, but I'm reaching them at their level. I meet my kids where I want them to, where they are, not where I want them to be. So for me, I think, the biggest thing was the getting to know them. So the first question I asked my first year was like, okay, y'all, where's everybody going to college at? And they were like, huh? And I said, where's everybody going to college at? And they were like, going to college? Dr. Morrow, we're not going to college. And to me, that's when the light went off. Like, this is insane. This is crazy. Like nobody has a desire to go to school to want more. And, you know, I shared transparency conversation with them. It's like, as crazy as it sounds, I went to college to pledge. Like, if you didn't have my Greek organization on the yard, I wasn't going to that school.
Oh,
but
okay. Now the truth is coming out.
No, I try to get them to see college is so much more than just an education. It's an experience. It's about relationships. And knowing that my students at that time had never been exposed to anything college life was mind blowing.
What's the grade levels that we're talking about?
9 through 12.
9 through 12. What was the households like? Because we talked about this. You can't expect people to elaborate.
Right.
And it starts in the home. Let's get real.
It does.
You can't expect kids to elaborate on something that's not even talked about in their house, especially if the people in the house didn't get those opportunities.
Yep.
They can't even relate to the experiences and so forth. You got the experiences because it was talked about in your family, it was stressed in your family. So evidently your mom and father came from academic backgrounds. So how do you get this out of them and change their mindsets?
So because I'm a very transparent teacher, I share my college experience with all of my students. I went on a full athletic scholarship to play basketball. I don't know what it's like to be a normal student because I wasn't. I mean, the whole aspect of the academics is a blur, but everything else, I remember everything about my college experience. So bringing that into my classroom and having that transparency with them, showing them different things on social media, like this is college life. It's so much more than you just going to class, but you also have to have that discipline. Because like I told them, my dad was very firm. He didn't play no games. But I thought I had discipline until I went to college. Mm-hmm. I did. Like Coach Skinner humbled me very quickly.
Give me an example of being humbled very quickly.
Just your parents aren't going to always be there. They're not going to be your go-to person. Like at some point you got to stand on your own 2 feet. I remember calling my mom just crying like, come get me. I cannot take it. This man is making my life hell. I was just ready to go. I was ready to pack up my things. I called some of my friends who had went to Tuskegee and they were like, girl, it's the same way here. But they were instilling in us that discipline, what we needed, what we thought we had. I mean, I remember going to the track at 3 a.m. in the morning. So
ran on that track many times.
You know what?
I ran on that track many times.
The sand dunes, like all of them.
I slept at the sand dunes many times. Yeah.
So just being a student and being a student athlete are two totally different things. Like even the athletic, that being athletic in high school versus being athletic in college are two totally different things.
Yeah.
So just sharing that story with them and just allowing them to live inside of my life.
What are some of the responses that you get from the students, and what age, what grade levels are you getting the responses from? Because everybody can't, let's be real, everybody can't be an athlete. I went to school through athletics, but I also understood that when it was time to take the SAT, oh shit, I need to be just as academically responsible as well. So you got 9th to 12th. What kind of responses are you getting from each one of those different individuals?
So let me say this. I'm all about education. I am, but it's not the end all be all. I get it. Everybody's not going to college. I mean, I look at my own kids, just the way the world is changing and evolving. Will college even exist by the time they go to college? So just have a plan. That's the main thing. Just have a plan. I get it. College is not for everyone. However, what is your plan? What is your alternative? Like I break it down to them, what is a realistic goal for you to make when you graduate high school or even have a degree? Because in our mindset, we're taught, go to school, go to college, come out and get a good job. But now with student loan debt being as high as it is, you got people that can't even afford to pay their student loans back. And you have some people that go directly into the workforce. Just have a plan. I get it. College is not for everybody, and that is okay. But you still need a plan.
Something we talked about yesterday, and you really brought it to clarity for me. You dealt with teaching a lot of what to do students, from TI to Chris, the whole 9 yards. What's the difference that you see with the haves, the have-nots.
Well, it's not, I mean, not necessarily singling out, his kids specifically. It's just the area that I was in at the time. The demographics, the financial aspect of it. On one side of the street, you got $1 million homes. On the other side of the street, you got the hood, you got the projects. But money matters, because with money, you have exposure. And seeing the differences between kids that come from a two-parent household or that come from a household where their parents are financially well off, it matters, because those kids have been exposed to different things versus you got kids that have never been downtown Atlanta. Or if I say, what are you guys doing for the weekend? Oh, I'm going to Atlanta. And I'm like, Atlanta right down the street. But that's because you don't have that exposure.
And they don't have that, without that money, you don't have that opportunity as well.
At all. And it's unfortunate, but that's why I'm big on sharing with them I break down this whole DTI, debt to income ratio, right? So this is how much money you think you're going to make, but let's add in all these expenses, all these things that you say you want. Can you afford it at the end of the day? Look at how many people are living above their means. And I tell them, quick, don't get caught up in social media, because social media has killed reality. We see somebody's highlight reel for 10 seconds, but that's not the life that they're actually living. Like a lot of this stuff, these handbags aren't real. They rented these homes just to do a video shoot. So you're just getting caught up in it. So when I bring in speakers to talk to my kids, the first thing I ask them is just be transparent. Just be honest and open with them about the things that you're doing. You don't have to sugarcoat anything, because they see that on social media daily.
What are some of the things that you hear from the generations that how do they view their life?
Also, everybody wants to be the next rapper. Everybody wants to be the next NFL player, the next LeBron James. And that's not the reality of life. I'll never forget, Marquise Daniels told my class, he said, you have a better chance at getting struck by lightning than you do getting recruited for the NBA. And he can speak on that firsthand because he's played in the league. So just showing them reality and just being transparent. That's the biggest thing, because that's what they don't have. They literally believe everything they see on social media.
Really? One thing I can honestly say from looking at what you're doing for the community is I love it. Teaching entrepreneurship. And I shared this with a lot of individuals. College is great. School is great. Trade school is great, but it ain't for everybody. The world is designed to produce labor force. They don't teach entrepreneur force and the power that being an entrepreneur can bring to the community, both economically and educational wise. You have taken those steps, which my hat's off to you, because this is a road that you had no interest in. Now these little ones are like, you're segregating kids pretty much.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So why did you feel there was a need to teach entrepreneurship?
So other than it being a part of my curriculum and what I'm teaching, I just wanted the kids to see that there are other options out there. Like I said, I'm an advocate of education. I am. 3 degrees. But that's not the path that everybody is destined to go down. Like, you can still do things and be successful and not have to go to college. You can own your own business. So what I do in my class, they have to create, for their final exam, they create a business from scratch. They do everything from a website to designing a logo. And at the end of the year, when they do their presentation, they actually sell a tangible product. And the money that they make from their product, they keep it. I had a student, he created Black Clothing Co., where it was a t-shirt line, and he actually went to college, and it's still today, he should be graduating next year, he's still today selling those t-shirts. Wow. And he created this all from a class project. So just instilling in them that entrepreneur, mindset at a high school age.
Tell me that's beautiful. Tell me another interesting student or two that was really not getting the picture on what you was trying to say, and now you look at them outside of this kid and go, wow, this was a student that you really had a difficult time getting that point across.
So I had a student, her name was Kiera.
Why is it as a school teacher, we always can relate to that one or two students in our classroom?
I admire Kiera, and she actually failed my class. She failed my class because they'll tell you Dr. Morrow does not give grades. I don't round grades. You get what you make. She failed my class. She was just, I don't know if it's just our personalities were clashing. She just didn't understand the concept. I don't know what it was. Mm-hmm. So the next year, I saw that she was back on my roster again. I was just like, when kids fail my class, they don't typically come back. And she did, and she ended up completing the pathway her senior year. And as their final exam project, they did a documentary as a class to highlight all 3 years in my course. And it was called Smoke and Mirrors, The Illusion Behind the Door, because everybody has a misconception of what takes place in Dr. Morrow's marketing class, because certain people only see, everybody is always getting stuff free in Dr. Morrow's class, and it's always her 5th period. So in the documentary, she was one of the first students to speak, and it just brought me to tears. And she was just saying, when I first got in Dr. Morrow's class, it didn't click for me. And I knew that she was only pushing me to be great. And, over those in her case, it was 4 years, she views me as her mother. Like, I stayed on top of her. And I tell these kids, I see you. When I don't talk to you, that means that I've lost hope. I don't see you anymore. And I try not to have that mindset, because I see all of my kids. Mm-hmm. I'm going to constantly push them. And I say, I see what you don't see. You have this potential. And what I admired about Kiera is that she failed my class and literally came right back. And she told all the students that. She was like, Dr. Morrow does not play, and she means business, but she always has your best interest at heart. So she was probably one of my better ending results, I guess you could say, because she brought me to tears when I saw that video.
How many students, I know it's probably hard to keep the ratio, but is there a moment that you wanted a student to really finish the course, but for some reason, whether it be home issues or whatever, that just, you can't light the fire up under everybody, because everybody deals with, we don't know what goes on in people's homes, but was there one student that you could have reached out to?
This was my first year teaching. My cousin was a counselor. She said, if you don't remember anything I tell you about teaching, just remember this: you can't save them all. And I didn't understand that. And after my first year teaching, I couldn't understand any of it. Like, how can you not care about your own kids? How can you not care about these kids? Like, it was just mind blowing. My first year was probably the hardest year I've ever had as an educator, because you take on these roles as their mothers, their nurses, their counselors, like all these hats for these kids. And you find yourself caring more than they care, or more than their parents care. So that was my struggle. And I had one student in particular that nobody else wanted him in their class. And I didn't have any issues with him. He came to class, did everything he was supposed to do for me, but he ended up, I think he might have dropped out of school. And I ended up seeing him at Moe's one day, and he was like, "You're Dr. Morrow." And I was like, "Yeah, how's everything been going?" He's working, so he's doing well. Even, it's Moe's, but you're still working. Mm-hmm. So those are the hard stories that you don't hear about in education.
What do you think needs to change? Hold on a minute, Dr. Morrow. Hold on 1 second. I think we just have to glitch with our computer. Do not hang up.
Okay.
All right. What we'll do is we edit anyway. So we'll just, what happened, that show just uploaded. Okay. So my question was, what do you think needs to happen in the school system? We know we need more money, but what would you like to see change?
Accountability.
On whose part? Parents, school system, government, state officials?
There is no one person. Because when you think about the school system, think of a puzzle piece. All the pieces go together. But when one piece doesn't fit, you can't complete the puzzle. So it needs to be accountability on all aspects: parents, teachers, students, community partners, government. Like I tell people, the No Child Left Behind Act, we voted on something that we had no idea what we were voting upon. That was the worst thing we could have ever done to education.
Why is that?
Because we're just passing the kids along. How are we helping these students?
Right.
Really, in the grand scheme of things, how are we helping? How are we really preparing them for life? Really, we took the graduation exam out of education. So there's no more, you got to take a graduation exam. And I'm not saying that's the end all be all, but I'm not a test taker. And let me tell you, before I got that degree from Albany State, you had to take that Regents test. Mm-hmm. There's no job that you'll ever have that you don't have to take some type of test, some type of competency test. Something has to be put in place. So yeah, accountability. That's the main thing that's lacking. Accountability.
Accountability really starts in the home.
It does. Absolutely. Absolutely.
How are the parents? What is your take on the parents in general, especially with what you're imposing and what you have implemented into the school system? Are you getting a serious outreach from them? Or do you hear? Can you tell from the kids, even if their parents are really involved in their lives?
You can tell. You can always tell. You can tell those conversations when you have with the parents and they say, oh, I'm going to get on him. You'll see a change. And then the next day it's the same thing. So that lets me know who's running the household. That's the first and foremost. When you don't have respect for your own parents, and that's obvious because you acting out and you doing what you want to do. I just feel like I teach 150 kids a day as a teacher, as an educator. But as a parent, you have one child. You're not concerned about the grades that your child has in school. That's a problem for me. But that's so common. That is so common. And I get it. By the time they get to high school, you try to give your kid that independence to do what they're supposed to do. But you know your child. I know my kids. If a teacher called me today and say, Taylor, my daughter won't stop talking in class, I know without a shadow of doubt that is absolutely true. But if somebody called me about my oldest son and tell me that, that's not true because he's not a talker. He goes in, he's focused, he got tunnel vision, he ain't saying nothing to nobody. But you know your kids. And you know those kids that you have to stay on top of, even in high school.
What do you bring to your family, your kids? What values and what ground things do you set in place for your kids' success? You're doing it for other kids. But like I said, once again, it starts in the home. Do you still bring those same traditions into your household? Tell me about it.
Oh, absolutely. We have so much structure. It's unreal because that's
I can tell the way looking at you, boy. You'd be like, hey, you don't want to go there.
And that's the biggest thing because, I tell my kids all the time, I'm so hard on them. And, you can say cliche or not. I'm hard on my own kids because I don't want my kids to end up like some of the kids that I teach. So my children know from the jump, like a B is not acceptable in my household, period. If you got a B, we need to figure out why you got a B. My kids are to the point, they'll talk to my mom, they'll talk to me because I get the grades on my phone. I'm like, why did you get an 89? That's not a 90. And, people can say what they want to say. You raise your children how you choose to raise your children, but this is how I choose to raise mine.
Oh, so I was getting ready to say something. You got ready to cut me off, huh?
No, there is a standard that I have because that was the standard that was held for me growing up as a child. My dad had high expectations of me in my educational ventures and what I was going to do in life. So I hold my kids to those same standards. And my dad rewarded me for the things that I've done. My kids will tell you that Christmas is every day in our house. There's not a set time where you get rewarded for anything because you're doing what you're supposed to do throughout the year. I don't pay them for chores. You're supposed to make your bed up. You're supposed to make good grades. But when you go above and beyond, you ask me for something, of course I'm going to give it to you because you're doing everything that you need to do to set yourself up for success. But everybody's different.
Yeah.
Everybody is different.
You know what, man? You are definitely a beast mind setter for real. I like the whole concept. How can the viewers be a part of your program? I know you're in Atlanta. If people just want to understand your program in general, because I don't think it needs to be centralized in just one area. You're teaching something that truly needs to impact a broad spectrum. How can the viewers reach out to you to learn more about what you've implemented into the school that you're currently at?
Absolutely. So Instagram is my biggest source of communication. It has my email and everything. You can reach out that way. I do check my DMs. I'm on social media all day, every day because I teach marketing, and that's how my kids get in contact with me as well. But it's at Dr. Morrow Marketing Class. So at Dr. Morrow Marketing Class. And then if you want to come in and be a guest speaker, we are always looking for people to come out and speak and share their remarkable stories.
Leave the viewers with something that only Dr. Morrow can leave the viewers with.
Let's see. So I had a speaker that shared this in my class one day, And it just made so much sense. And it put everything in perspective for me as an educator, but just as a mom, as a parent, as everything, the many roles that I have and hold, the titles or whatnot. He said, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. You can't see the picture when you're in the frame. So it's okay to take a step back. You're not going to be perfect. Every day is not going to go the way you expect it to go. Life goes on. We have so much that we take for granted in life, but you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. Take a step back, and it's okay. It's okay not to be perfect because none of us are. Just do your best and have a plan.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Crayton Show.